Now, just how much does the average American know about Obamacare versus the Affordable Care Act? Or more accurately, how many people know that those two programs are exactly the same thing? Obamacare is the ACA, ACA is the Obamacare. Well, in order to find out the answer to that, pollsters over at Morning Consult conducted a survey, and the results, of course, are still incredibly disheartening. Now, the poll found that a sizable minority of Americans don't understand that Obamacare is just another name for the Affordable Care Act. Oh, how sad. So let me break down the numbers. Now, in the survey, 35% of respondents said they either thought Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act were different policies. 17% or didn't know that they were the same or different, 18%. So it's broke down between two different things. Either they think it's the same or they're not sure. I don't know. Maybe it could be the same. I don't know. Nobody's telling me anything. Like, I'm hearing stuff from all sorts of different sides. I don't know what to go. It's crazy. Now, this is where it gets kind of sad. The confusion was more pronounced among young people 18 to 29 and those who earn less than $50,000 a year. So that, incredibly disheartening. So you've got some younger people and people on the lower economic, the lower part of the economic spectrum that don't know. Oh, that's sad. Now, of course, these two groups, and this is the really sad thing about this, both groups would be most affected by the repeal of the ACA because they would be helped the most. Now, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, most Republicans, a higher percentage, 72%, said that they knew Obamacare and the ACA were the same, and of course, they still despise it. Okay. Now, again, I think that's because the sizable majority of people in the Republican Party hate the mandate. Now, or they fall into the coverage gap because they might have higher incomes. Now, of course, when you're in the coverage gap, you can't really get the subsidies. But also, you might be in there in that gap and you can't afford the plans or the giant deductibles for those plans, basically making your insurance obsolete. Now, of course, that coverage gap is the fatal flaw of the ACA, and I pointed out that a lot of times. Nobody wants to pay or get fined for something that they can't use and where the price will continue to rise to more than what they can afford. But now the thing about the ACA is that even without the ACA, you have prices rising. In fact, you have prices rising faster without the ACA. But still, it understandably frustrates people. And again, that's why I'm for changing the system, for actually improving the ACA by adding a public option and eventually going to a completely single-payer system, not repealing it. Now, that actually goes to the next part of the poll, repeal. Now, when respondents were asked what would happen if Obamacare was repealed, a lot of people didn't really understand the consequences of it. And many didn't even know that the ACA would end up being repealed. Very interesting. Again, they thought, Obamacare, ACA, I don't know what's the difference. I don't know what's getting repealed because I don't know what these laws are. I'm still confused. I'm not sure which one is which. Sad. Now, 45% of people did not know that the ACA would be repealed. 45%. 12% of Americans said the ACA would not be repealed. So, like, oh yeah, they're going to get rid of that Obamacare, but I'll have ACA. That's 12% of people. 32% of people said they didn't know. I don't know if the ACA is getting repealed. If they repeal Obamacare, I don't know. Oh, that's crazy. And a little disastrous. And it shows how little the American people have actually been informed about what Obamacare and the ACA actually are. And of course, that happens to be a victory for the Republican Party because the Republicans, they despise the law. Not because it's bad. It's their own law. They came up with it. But it's because it goes back down to politics. I mean, look, they came up with it. It was Heritage Care, Romney Care in Massachusetts. Is actually pretty successful there. Obama looked at it and went, I'm just going to take it. I'm going to take it. I'm going to use it. Instead of actually going with a progressive plan or doing Obamacare and actually having a public option put into it. No, we're going to take the right-wing plan and we're going to apply it here. Congratulations. And of course, when you did that, the Republicans didn't have anything to fall back on because they didn't have anything to offer. Ooh, health savings accounts. Fantastic. Even though when it's been tried, it's been an absolute disaster. Now, again, the irony about this whole thing is that there are positions in this, or provisions, that are actually very popular with large majorities of the American people. For example, the ban on not covering pre-existing conditions. Or you also have being able to stay on your parents' insurance until you're 26. Those are popular, and those were actually the brainchild of Republicans. They came up with the idea. And of course, since they came up with the law itself, including the individual mandate, which is the thing that makes the whole goddamn thing work, well, they know the weaknesses, and they knew how to play politics against it. And what they did, one of the first things they did was attach Obama's name to it. It's Obamacare, not the Affordable Care. It's Obamacare. And they made it sound like it was a government takeover of healthcare, which isn't even closely true. It's patently false. And it turns out that there was so much rancor and animus against President Obama that anything attached to his name or with his name attached to it, instantly hated. But of course, people hate the Obama part more than they actually hate the Affordable Care Act, which is the same damn thing. I mean, you had people down in Kentucky that loved their health insurance exchanges. They loved Connect. That's what it was called. It wasn't called Obamacare. In fact, they went down and they asked people, what do you think about your health insurance plan? Oh, I love it, man. I can actually afford it now. I get help with, being able to afford it. It's great. What do you think about Obamacare? Hate it. Terrible socialism. Got to get rid of it. Without even knowing that it's the same thing. Again, sad. And Republicans, again, they took this idea and they said, we're going to play politics here and we're going to distance ourselves. No, not our idea. That's Obama's idea. You know what our idea is? Freedom. Freedom. And all this served to just confuse the fuck out of people. So I don't really blame a lot of people for being low information because there's a lot of confusing information out there. And that's why people think, well, if they get rid of Obamacare, that's fine. I'll still have the ACA, or I might even have my Medicaid expansion through the ACA, so screw Obamacare. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Which leads me to another piece of this poll. According to the survey, only 61% of adults knew that many people would lose coverage through Medicaid or subsidies for private health insurance if the ACA were repealed and no replacement plan enacted. That 61% of people actually knew what would happen. The rest, about 1 in 6 Americans actually, said that coverage through Medicaid and subsidies that help people would not be affected by the ACA repeal. And 23% did not know. So when you combine the we don't knows and the no, Medicaid, that's going to be fine. The subsidies are going to be fine if you get rid of the ACA or Obamacare, you end up with 39%. Oof. Disastrous number. That's over a third of people, of the people polled. Insane. And this illustrates the power of propaganda. I'm betting a big chunk of these people either watched Fox News and got confused, or they didn't pay attention to news at all. Which actually you might be better off if you don't pay attention to news, because at least you might be uninformed, but you're not being misinformed. And of course, I also have to throw some shade at the Democrats for really not doing a good job at selling this. And look, you got to sell this to the people, not to the Republican politicians, is what they tried to do. No, it's your plan. It'll work great. What? My plan? No, it's not my plan. It's your plan. I didn't have anything to do with this. In fact, I'm going to run against it. No, Democrats had to go and sell it directly to the people, and they actually did a terrible, terrible job. And I also think the lack of a public option, which would have made it which would have actually been incredibly popular had they left it in the law, also ended up hurting it. But again, the Democrats, no, we got to get Republican votes. We got to make this bipartisan by dropping the public option. Well, what happened? What happened? Tell me how that went, Democrats. Tell me how that went. Other than massive losses on the board, you got nothing. No Republican votes, no Republican support. In fact, they used their own law, the one that they knew the weaknesses about, against you and against other Democrats. And we had the losses in 2010, losses in 2014, and the massive losses in 2016. I'm not saying that's all Obamacare or the ACA. I'm saying that it just shows one of the absolute failures of the Democratic Party for getting out messaging and actually helping regular people in the working class. And instead, they went after Republicans. Hillary Clinton tried to get the so-called moderate Republicans. Well, Republicans are authoritarians. They love sucking up to the alpha male. And that's exactly what they did. They all fell in line. And Donald Trump is the alpha male. They all lined up to give him their banana. That's what happened. So no, why would you go for a Republican light in Hillary Clinton when you could go for a full Republican like Donald Trump? Makes no sense. But again, all those factors contribute to what we see today in these polls. The media, the Democratic failure, as well as people being misinformed by places like Fox News. And this is what we have. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.